Hey, how's it going, everyone? So what am I working on now? I got a 2017 Honda Fit, and the customer's complaint is they think they have a transmission problem. They think they need a transmission. Well, this thing only has 80-something thousand miles, I think it is. Yeah, 82,000 miles. Very unusual for one of these things to need a transmission. Actually, I've never actually seen one with a transmission problem. Doesn't mean it doesn't happen. I just haven't seen it. So anyway, I get it in, I scan it for codes. Let me show you the codes it has. P0717, P0717, and then this one, pressure control solenoid valve C, performance or stuck off. I'm going to ignore this one for now. I'm going to concentrate on this. That's a current code, P0717. All right, input turbine speed sensor A circuit no signal. So what is that? That's basically the input to the transmission. It's a CVT in this thing. All transmissions nowadays, they need to know what's the speed into the transmission. Not engine speed, but the actual speed into the transmission. So they have an input speed sensor on transmissions. Could be internally mounted, could be externally mounted. On this, it happens to be externally mounted. They also need an output speed sensor, and a lot of times they'll have like a transfer shaft or whatever you might call it, like a third speed sensor, to see where something else is, depending on what manufacturer it is. Like I said, intermediate shaft, turbine shaft, you have transfer shaft, that was the other one. They may want to know what the transfer shaft speed is. So it needs to see all three different speeds to know when to shift the vehicle. If it doesn't see them, it may not shift correctly. Well, this thing is a CVT, so it doesn't actually shift, but to be in the right orientation, I'm gonna blub, to be in the right orientation for drivability, to make so you can actually drive and move forward. So you're going to select the correct ratio, so to speak. Because it's a CVT, constantly varying transmission, you have to have the right ratio for going wherever, up a hill, flats, whatever. He was saying it's like kind of stuck in one mode. It doesn't ever shift, or we're going to call it shift because it's just easier to say it that way. So how do you check this? I'm going to just show you a real simple way to check a speed sensor to see if anything's working. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to data, and let's look at data. Okay, I put my scanner on the bench just to make my life easier. Let's go to data, torque converter turbine speed. Let's go there. Okay, let's go to graph. See, it's reading 0 RPM. So let's go to graph. So you see it's populating on 0. So let's start it up and let's see what she does. Now, just in case, turbine speed should read something now, you would think, right? Because the engine is running. But maybe can I open the door all the way? Sometimes you can't on this lift depending on the vehicle. Let's just try actually sticking it in gear so the tires can spin. And we got no change. Okay. Just want to make sure I'm on the right thing, because I've done that before, being on something that I thought was reading what I thought it was reading, and it's not reading what I thought it was reading. You understand what I mean. All right, ooh, key back on, hold on. Got to have the key in the wrong position for this. All right. So now we see what this is all reading 0. Let's put this up in the air because the speed sensor for this is down there, and I can get to it easily from underneath. So we're going to put this up in the air. You don't have to watch this whole thing. Okay, so we're back up in the air here, and that's the sensor right there that I'm concerned with. So we're going to unplug this. So now I have the connector there, and you can still see the scanner here is reading 0. Hang on a second, let me shut off the compressor. Okay, so still reading 0, as you can see there. Just trying to block the light momentarily, but still reading 0. Okay, here's a new input speed sensor, or turbine speed sensor. Let me show you what we're going to do. Let me put you into a little tripod here, so maybe you can actually see what I'm doing. Now we're going to plug this in. Here, it's plugged in. You can see that, right? And as you can see from here, the scanner's not really showing anything. All right, so zoom you in a little bit. Hang on. All right, so now what we're going to do is we are going to take a metallic object like this extension, 1/4 inch drive extension, and we are just going to pass it back and forth over the magnetic end of the sensor. Now, of course, I'm not as accurate as the motor itself. But see that? I got a reading. I have a reading now. I did not have a reading before. I'm going to put a new sensor in it. So there's your diagnostics for that. Really pretty simple diagnostics. Don't buy sensors and return them if you do this. You know, if you buy them, be honest and keep it. That's what I do. If I buy one, I will usually never return it unless it's something really extravagant or something really weird. And usually if it's something really expensive, I'll go through the full diagnostics first. That sensor really wasn't that much money. It was only a couple of bucks. But I kind of had a funny feeling that was going to be the problem. So let's put this sensor in. All right, actually, I'm going to let you down a little bit so maybe you can actually see what I'm doing. I think I said let you down, but I meant let the vehicle down. All right, let me unplug the new sensor. Okay. And then really, I know it's difficult to see, but there is a, hold on, sorry. There's a 10 millimeter there on top of that sensor. I'm gonna have to get to that to get that out of there. All right, so I'm gonna use a 1/4 drive 10 deep. If I can even get on it, I might not be able to get on it with the cordless ratchet. A little difficult, a little bulky, so I'm gonna have to get a hand ratchet going back in. I just happen to have the cordless Milwaukee right there. Alright, and it is fighting me coming out. Just gonna tuck the wiring out of my way. But that thing is stuck in there. It moves a little bit. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take some compressed air and I'm going to blow off the dirt on the outside of that. And then I'm going to spray some WD up there. So hang on a second. And then we'll spray a little WD up there to try to get a little lubrication on the seal itself, because that'll help us. Because what I hate to do is break a sensor in there by prying on it. And trust me, I've seen it all too often. People don't take their time, they pry on a plastic sensor and then they break it. Yeah, this is not going to be easy because it don't want to come out. All right, let me mess with this because you're kind of in my way, unfortunately. So I'll explain to you what I do to get that thing out. But basically, it's going to wind up being just manipulated in and out and stuff like that until it finally comes out. So let me just do that. Okay, so old one's out. I had to use a little bit of heat, some tools, wound up breaking it in the process. But yeah, so I wound up using this pair of pliers here to grab it. Then I was able to twist it and twist it and twist it. Finally, it came out. So here's the new one. I got transmission assembly gel on there. Let's get this thing inserted in place. So you know the general area it goes. I gotta turn on my headlight, sorry, so if you can't see. Transmission assembly gel will help make your life easier. And make sure the sensor fully seats before you bolt it down. All right. And there it is. It's fully seated. Always make sure of that. So let me bolt that down, and then we're going to try it again. Okay, it's in. It's bolted up. It's plugged in. All right. Let's let it down. Start it up and see what we got. I've been tricked in the past with wrong speed sensors and stuff like that. Like I'm looking at the wrong information. Usually it's because I'm either in a rush or something like that, and I just happen to be looking at the wrong information. It happens. What are you going to do? It's just, I know that I'm looking at the right one now because when I was basically passing the metallic piece over the sensor, you could see the reading, and I had no reading before. I just want to show you something actually real quick too. Okay. So here, what do I do with that? There's that extension. What you're doing is you're basically passing it really close. So see, it's got a magnet in it. You're passing it really close to there, like that. This way, you're exciting the actual contact that's inside there. All right, let's start this up and let's see what reading we have. Let me shut my light off. Oh, the battery's dead. Okay. Let me put a battery charger on this thing for a few minutes. Dang it. Okay. All right, just so you can see this, the battery has 11.5 volts in it right now, and that was because I had the key on. So 11.5 is not even enough to start this little tiny 1.5 liter. But I had left the key on because I really didn't think it was going to take me that long to get the sensor out. So, all right, let's get this thing on charge. So we got 12 volt, standard battery. Let's go 10 amps. All right. And also this will tell you the percentage. It's only 14% charged. So we're going to leave that go. I got other stuff to look at. Let me make sure the key is off. And let me look at a few other things while this is cooking. And then we're going to get back to it. Okay, so back to the Honda. It's been charging. So it's at 75% now. So let's start it up. I had to reboot the scanner. But let's see what we got. And there we go. So hopefully that resolves the issue. I mean, obviously now I have a reading. I didn't have a reading before. And, okay, it's charging fine. It's 14.1, so I'm good with that. Disconnect this. Put this off to the side. It's a smart charger. Once you disconnect it, it shuts itself down. And let's take this car for a ride and see what it feels like. So I just went on a 10-mile road test. The transmission feels perfectly fine. It feels like what I expect it to feel like. The whole problem was the input speed sensor. So I can't tell you how many people come in saying, oh, this is the problem or that's the problem. Have us diagnose what the actual problem is. Diagnose it first, because here's this guy thinking he needs a transmission, and it just turns out it was a speed sensor. And we have it happen all the time where people think they need a transmission and it needs an ignition coil or a spark plug or something. So, but yeah, here, look at the graph. It's perfect. And that's where I had revved it up. But let me show you. So yeah, obviously changes with RPM. Sorry about that glare there, but so you know what I'm talking about. So that's pretty much it. Simple fix. You know, not too terrible. Customer should be happy with that because I mean, a couple $100 repair compared to, you know, a several $1,000 transmission. Yeah, and then we get it in and out. So we're happy. He's happy. All's good. I'm actually now going to pull it inside and give it a complete check over because I noticed, according to the sticker, it's overdue for an oil change by a couple thousand miles. So I want to see, I want to basically give it a good look over, make sure everything's all good with the vehicle, give them a kind of call, and then go from there. All right. Hopefully you got something out of that. If you like the scanner, I'm going to put a link to the scanner down in the description. I have links to other Amazon products down there that I personally use. If you give it a click, I'd really appreciate it. It helps me out. If you buy something, it helps me out even more. So, but anyway, I'm not asking you to buy anything, but if you do, thank you. All right, hopefully you got something out of that video. If you did, hit that like button. If you could, please subscribe. All right, guys, have a great day. Keep wrenching.